Typically, that would never happen. You cannot replace the experience that's lost in that unit. I think it's needed. I can tell you that that unit is very political. Around election time, people used to say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm not a politician. I was a police officer. I was a street police. I was a detective. I didn't care about who's the sheriff, who went to jail. I cared about solving crimes, taking people to jail, gathering evidence, and presenting the case to the prosecutors. That was my job. I used to have about 1,000 cases a year, 1,000. And we used to solve almost 80% of them. That's a lot of cases that we were solving and proactively working. I don't know who's working these cases, because I know there's a lot of crimes going on. I drive around Valley Boulevard. I can tell you what's going on in the world. This department, if you're a victim, you want deputy sheriffs to come and help you, okay? The cases that need specialized attention, the Asian community, they go to the station detectives. So imagine if I was a regular station detective, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're outstanding deputies, okay? But I'm working 50 burglaries. Now get a Chinese guy's home who got broken into. He probably got tied up because somebody followed him home. He's got cash in the house. And that detective is gonna handle this case. How much time do you think he's gonna devote to it? Probably 30 minutes. He's gonna run some people. He's gonna see if there's any interviews done. If not, that case is called a pending case. That means there's no active lead to solve it. Nobody's gonna touch that case. He's gonna work on cases that there's somebody to work on with. The difficulty is that the sheriff's department has very limited resources, okay? Everybody's doing what they can do. Everybody's doing their best. But at Homicide Bureau, where the detectives solve murders, they're very short personnel. So there's a lot of murders going on, right? So the unsolved ones, the code murders, they don't get priority because there's people getting murdered every weekend. Every day there's people getting killed, murdered. So the detectives have to work those cases. And when they have time, they work the unsolved ones. But they don't get time. So I remember that case vividly. I responded to the crime scene that night. I don't want to say too much about the details of that case, but I think that case is very solvable. There's a lot of evidence in the case, but we just don't have the resources. Not we, but the sheriff's department. I don't think they have the adequate resources to work it. I don't think, and there's also a language barrier, right? A lot of the witnesses are Chinese. And so I think there's a lot of language barriers that prevents that kind of crime to be solved. When I retired from the sheriff's department, a couple months before that, the former sheriff, Jim McDonald, they disbanded my unit. So my entire unit was disbanded, no more. So all the detectives we had went to different places. So we lost a lot of resources to help the community in solving these crimes, which is a huge loss. You can't replace that kind of experience, resources. We had people calling us from the community, hey, I saw this murder, I know this, I know that. We lost that overnight. Rotten human. I mean, it's very, very bad smell. Foul odor. You'll never forget it. So so I asked my friends from San Gabriel PD, hey, what's your dead guy's name? They said Minggu. Show me a photo. The dead guy didn't have an ID, but I think something happened to the car. We ran the car, and it came back to be Minggu's relative or something like that. Girlfriend, I'm sorry. That was his girlfriend's car, who's also not a very good person, okay? So we contact her. We knock on her door and say, hey, do you know your boyfriend? Yeah. Where's he at? I don't know, he's missing. And she basically lies to us about this case, right? And I know when somebody's lying, you ask them questions, they don't tell you the truth, right? Where's your car at? Oh, my car is at my house. Well, I know the car's not in your house because the car's on new mark with a dead person in there, right? So we ultimately ID Minggu. He's rotten dead. He's like, can't tell his face. It's rotten. He's been there for like 2 weeks. And what's funny about that is, not really funny, but it was kind of funny, but there's like 4 parking tickets. So these parking people just sees the parking ticket and they just give him a ticket. They don't see if the car smells, whatever. So finally the neighbor goes, hey, there's a car outside my house with like 5 parking tickets. What's going on with the car, right? So anyways, we told the car, they do the autopsy. So we start working the case. The 2 detectives on there, and I, and 2 other, so at that time I was on a team with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. I was a detective in the Sheriff's Department, but I was assigned to LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department. So my partner was an FBI agent. We're working on just all the Asian organized crime cases. So we start using our cell phone technology, and we start working backwards of everybody that Minggu contacted was by a gentleman named Andy Chen. So if you run Andy Chen on our police system, you're gonna come across 10,000 Andy Chen. So we don't know what this Andy Chen's name. They all use prepaid phones. So Andy Chen has 5 numbers. He's got like a 909, 951, like every area code he has it, right? So his actual name is not Andy, it's a Chinese name. So we had to work kind of around Minggu's friends, and we ultimately ID Andy. And we discovered that Andy saw him. We used our cell phone technology and we triangulated where Andy was last seen, which is off of the 10 freeway. Then we used other cell phone technology and located the house that Andy was at.